Hey guys, Laura Williams here with Girls Gone Sporty, and I want to thank you first and foremost for joining me tonight for our first live cooking event. Now, I'm a little nervous, to be honest. I've done live workouts, I'm familiar and comfortable with them. I haven't done a live cooking session before, so anything could happen. Hopefully we won't lose any fingers or burn anything down today. But what we're making are Asian-inspired tacos. Now, if you happen to get my email newsletter, you know I'm a lover of tacos. I love every kind of taco there are. So
hey guys, Laura
I'm
Williams here with
super
Girls Gone
excited to
Sporty,
be
and
trying
I want to thank you
for the first time
for
joining me tonight for our first live cooking
this
event.
is one I made up
now,
myself.
I'm a little nervous,
and
to be
I'm
honest.
still kind of
I've done
making it
live
up as I go
workouts.
along.
I'm familiar
Based
on just what I had here at the house. So I'm a big believer in making do with what you have. So if you didn't plan a grocery trip for a particular meal, I'm not going to run to the grocery store to pick up 1 or 2 ingredients. So you'll hear me here and there say, well, you might want to use this instead of that, just because this is what I had on hand. But what we're doing is what I'm calling kind of a coconut curry chicken Asian-inspired taco. First and foremost, I'd like to let you know that I made a marinade earlier in the day, and I've been marinating my chicken in it for probably about 4 hours. Now, the marinade itself was about a cup of organic soy milk. Now, I used, and it's plain soy milk. I used soy milk instead of coconut milk simply because I didn't have coconut milk, but coconut milk would be a great alternative. Then I used 4 tablespoons of organic coconut sugar, which I'd never even tried before. I saw it for the first time yesterday at the store and was like, oh, that seems interesting, and now I'm using it, so there you go. Then I used, let's see, it was 4 tablespoons of that, 2 tablespoons of curry. So we've got our curry in there, yellow curry. I used a tablespoon of garlic powder, and I used a teaspoon of ginger, and that gives it a zing. So there is a little bit of a zing to this marinade. And I liked the marinade while I was testing it and trying it. So I decided to go ahead and keep some of it and use it as a drizzle later for the tacos. So separate a little bit out. You won't need as much as you make if you make it according to the same ingredients as I used. So keep a little bit, set it aside, use it for a drizzle later. So that's what I've got right here. And actually, I didn't know how much of the marinade I'd use, so I actually used all of it. And then I've decided, okay, well, because I did want to use some of it as a drizzle, I went ahead and heated what was left up on the stove to make sure that I cooked out any of those potentially bad bacteria that it might have gotten in it from the chicken. So what I'm going to be doing first is breading the chicken using coconut flour and coconut shreds. So I had both of those on hand already. I have my chicken right here that I took out of the fridge from its marinade not too long ago. So I'm going to do, I know a lot of people say do 1 piece at a time, roll it over. I say no to that. So I'm just going to take all of my chicken and just kind of dump it into my coconut flour, shredded coconut mix here. And I didn't measure the coconut flour mix or shredded coconut. I just kind of put some in a bowl and mixed it around. I just wanted to get a little bit of the actual coconut flakes on the chicken. So I'm just going to kind of roll that around. The chicken should pick up, because it's wet from the marinade, it should pick up and hold the flour pretty well. I've opted not to use an egg or anything like that. So the key there is if you don't use an egg to help get the mix, the coconut flour and the coconuts to stick, then you just can't mix them around in the stove as much, because we're going to be pan frying these here in a little bit. All right, so I've got the chicken nice and mixed up there. All right, pretty well coated. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and turn on the stove over here. Add a little bit of olive oil, because we're doing a bit of a pan fry, but we don't add a whole lot of olive oil. And again, I never measure, so maybe a tablespoon there, maybe a little less. let that go ahead and get heated up. And while I'm doing that, I will also be kind of pan frying, stir frying cabbage and julienned, this just chopped cabbage, purple cabbage, and julienned organic carrots that I just picked up from a pre-julienned carrot area at the grocery store. So I'm gonna put a little bit, turn on the back burner to about medium high, a little bit of olive oil back on this one as well. And then once these start to get heated up, that's when we're actually gonna add the products to the pans. All right. Starting to get hot. This one too. This particular pan, it's a Swiss Diamond pan, which I actually really love it. It's the only one I have. It's not a super cheap pan. But one of the reasons it takes longer to heat up. So I always have to kind of keep an eye on it. But once it's hot, the whole pan heats really well, which is one of the reasons why I love it. So I'm just gonna start by putting some veggies over here. The cabbage and carrots are very Asian mix-like, which is good. There's a little bit of cilantro in there too, because I chopped the cabbage and the carrots on the same, well, the cabbage on the same thing where I had chopped some cilantro. So while that starts to heat, and this is just something we'll end up mixing with the chicken here in a little bit. So it's gonna be kind of the chicken mixology. I don't know what I'm saying. All right, and I will talk briefly while I'm waiting for that to heat a little more. We've got our toppings here. Now our toppings for our tacos are pretty much what you already see. So we've got some of the chopped red cabbage, we've got the julienned carrots, we've got a little bit of onion, just chopped onion, and that might actually be better served if you had green onions. I don't have green onions on hand, so I nixed that idea. I've got some chopped cilantro, which would, you know, give it a little bit of a, you know, taco flair as well, but it's also a really traditional food to use in Asian dishes. And then a little bit of just shredded coconut here. I also have over on my plate, which I'll bring over for you to see, same idea, kind of deconstructed taco toppings right here, but I just added some avocado as well, so sliced avocado. So you can have that as a side of salad, or you can actually, you know, if you don't feel like having a taco shell, just do the same sort of thing. Just add your chicken that you make here in a minute to the top, and you can have a nice salad. Taco-y Asian taco salad. All right, that's starting to sizzle. I'm sure this is starting to get nice and hot. So I'm just going to spoon my little diced chicken over here. Into this pan. Keep it up a little more. So the goal is to get this a little bit pan fried, a little brown around the edges. And I'll be adding some olive oil periodically, just to help with that. And again, I've never tried this recipe before. It could be a total fail. I'm hoping it's good. I liked the marinade I made. So here's hoping. But that's the joy of live programming. You get to see it while it happens. Add a little bit more the raw veggies to that mix. Tossing the chicken a little bit more. When it's all said and done, the taco shells that I purchased are actually a mix of corn and flour, so it's like a 50-50 mix. You can use whatever taco shells you prefer. If you prefer wraps or lettuce leaves or any of those kinds of things, it would all be really tasty, I'm hoping. Let's assume, let's hope for the best. All right. Now you're not hearing a lot from this pan over here, but it's actually almost all the way over on high heat. Spoon all of this chicken in there. And you can see some of the coconut is starting to get nice and toasted, which is nice to see. Sounds like fajita sizzling. Love that sound. I am such a Mexican food fanatic. So good. I don't eat it that often though, you'd be surprised. At least I don't eat out that often. If you have a favorite Mexican food restaurant or type of Mexican food, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. Try to recreate a dish. All right, I'm gonna turn that down a little bit while it continues to cook. Add a little bit more. You gotta get your veggies. I mean, just look at how nice and colorful all of this is. You've got your red cabbage, your carrots, your cilantro, your avocado if you choose to have some avocado, your onions, all sorts of good stuff. All right, I'm gonna turn that down a hair. You can see that some of it's starting to brown up, and part of it is because I have extra flour and coconuts in the pan. So we're getting a little bit of smoke from that stuff heating up. I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil. Maybe another 1 to 2 tablespoons. So it's kind of a mist pour, but you can see it's starting to really get toasty now. So it's not really the chicken that's starting to look a little bit burnt, it's more of the loose coconut flour and coconut that you may be seeing. Getting a little dark there. So if that's not your taste, you can always brush some of that off. It's extra and it's loose. Now these are pretty small, and I'm totally a messy cooker. Look at me throwing stuff around everywhere. These are pretty small pieces of chicken. They shouldn't take that long to cook up, but to be on the safe side, I'm gonna keep it going for a little bit, and I am gonna slice a couple of them up just to look on the inside, see if there's pink. Don't want any pink. And if you like your chicken meat even smaller, you can always dice it up even smaller or shred it. Might not be able to bread it quite like this if you shred your chicken, but that's okay. All right. Give it a little bit longer there. Come back over here. Stir this up some more. If you hadn't noticed today, so we did our taco soup recipe last week, which was not live, but it was delicious. So please go watch that video, do that recipe if you're interested. The recipe is actually on the girlsgonesporty.com website, so you can check that full recipe out there. But the video, of course, is on YouTube. So, but that one was awesome. It wasn't live. I'm not entirely sure where I was going with that. That's okay. All right, take a peek. We are looking pretty darn cooked through, which is awesome. So we are just about ready to move along. I am just such a mess. I hope you guys cook like me. My whole motto about cooking is that it should be fun, and it's food, and it's like art, and so you should feel comfortable playing around in the kitchen. Like I said, I make up my own recipes all the time, and I just kind of make whatever I have on hand based on what I have on hand, which is sometimes a hit, sometimes it's not, but that's just part of it. But that's how you start feeling really comfortable about cooking and enjoying the way you eat, because you get to choose the ingredients you use and make sure that it's stuff that you like. And then you start learning, well, this one goes well with this one, and that one goes well with this one. I don't know. I don't consider myself any sort of like awesome chef, but I like playing in the kitchen, which means I've come up with some really cool recipes along the way, some stuff that's been really delicious, and then some stuff that hasn't been. So I'm hoping tonight's recipe will be really delicious. All right. So I'm just taking this chicken out of here to get it off of the heat, stop its cooking process as much as possible. So you can probably see there in the pan, there's just a ton of the coconut and the coconut flour left. And so if you wanted to knock some more off of your chicken, you could definitely do that. That's what's looking a little burnt there. And just so you know, we do have dogs in the house. And so if you hear dogs, or if you see a dog wandering around behind me or anything like that, they're in the vicinity. Who doesn't love their four-legged friends? All right, I think it is time to try out our tacos. So, I already showed you my plate here earlier. I'm gonna set this in the middle. It should be fairly safe there. And I'm just going to take, let's see, I need a serving spoon. I'm going to take a serving spoon, spoon a little bit of chicken in there. About 3 pieces is good. These aren't huge. My dog came to visit one of them. And take a little bit of the cooked topping. And you could always add, I didn't add any seasoning to the cooked topping because I happen to know that the marinade is very strong. So I figured a little cooked topping would be good. And then I'm gonna, Abby, move it. Add a little bit of cilantro there. Maybe a couple onions. Abby's like, ooh, can I have some too? Not this time. Maybe some uncooked cabbage, a couple uncooked carrots. All right, proof's in the pudding. We'll see how this is. That's good. It's different, but it's good. I'm actually going to take a little bit of that marinade drizzle that I mentioned. Just kind of sprinkle it a little, goes a long way, just so you know. Sprinkle it on top there. Take another bite because I'm hungry. To watch my manners. These are good. They're not your traditional taco, but they have really nice flavoring to them. Taste really good. This is my dinner tonight, so I'm gonna go finish eating and taking some snapshots of what we've done here too. So I hope you've enjoyed it. By all means, now that I've test driven the recipe, we'll get it published on girlsgonesporty.com. So you can always check that out there in the next couple days and, you know, try it yourself. You can do it along with me. Again, because this will live forever on our YouTube channel. So thanks again for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. You know where the button is. Go ahead and do that. And I will see you back here next week. Thanks.